From year to year, month to month, week to week, and day to day, people across the world are obsessed with a phenomenon that is professional wrestling. But why? 101 Reasons to Love Professional Wrestling. There are many components of professional wrestling that should be both understood and celebrated, in no particular order. Stables. Tribes go back to the dawn of time. It's a natural human instinct to join forces with those who are blood in the same location, or even just like-minded. Take this concept, add a little ultra-violence, and you have a gang. As the movie The Warriors so poetically showcased, when you're on a journey back home, you're bound across many turfs and some very eccentric gangs. A professional wrestling fan taking a journey through their fandom are likely to tell you similar tales. In the 1970s, there was the First Family, the Heenan Family, the Dangerous Alliance, and others. But in wrestling, the gangs are called stables. In the world away from the ring, a stable would be used to describe a group of horses. In professional wrestling, there's only one group of horses that need to be discussed: the Four Horsemen. Formed in 1986, the Four Horsemen were one of the first big-time groups. These gentlemen are not just in the conversation for greatest stable of all time. Frankly, they are the conversation. The first incarnation of the Horsemen featured Nature Boy Ric Flair, the Enforcer Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, and Tully Blanchard, with J.J. Dillon as their manager. These men are all Hall of Famers on their own, but together they were easily the cream of the crop and unstoppable. Then over the years, the men with four extended fingers would have some of the greatest members, including Sting, Lex Luger, and more elite status wrestlers. While there is no doubt on what is the greatest stable of all time, there are quite a few other legendary stables. You have to include the New World Order in this discussion. The NWO was a group of Hall of Famers in their own right, with Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Sean Waltman, and a handful of others. For a few years during the 1990s, this was the hottest thing in the business and had a gigantic amount of pop culture crossover. But like most good things in wrestling, the NWO would eventually fizzle out. Still, the impact of the New World Order was made, and they will forever be part of history. Then there's Degeneration X, another Hall of Fame stable, started by the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and the ninth wonder of the world, Chyna. With their crude and sophomore humor, DX made their marks with crotch chops and vulgar sayings. During the Attitude Era in the WWF, this was not only perfectly acceptable, but it was a huge success. Sadly, Shawn Michaels would leave due to injury, but Triple H added X-Pac Sean Waltman and the New Age Outlaws to the mix. The group would last for several years, and to this day, they are featured on special events. The NWO and DX were not the only stables of the 1990s. There was the Dungeon of Doom, the $1 Million Corporation, the Flock, the Nation of Domination, and it goes on and on. The 2000s would see Evolution, Aces and Eights, the Embassy, and others show up and represent the long lineage of wrestling stables. Then in the 2010s, lightning was captured in a bottle when New Japan Pro Wrestling's Bullet Club hit the scene. This stable had the likes of AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Adam Cole, Gallows, Anderson, and other global stars at one point. Once the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Adam Page, and Cody Rhodes got on board, the fans of independent and international wrestling ate it up. These guys would eventually leave New Japan Pro Wrestling and start All Elite Wrestling, but the Bullet Club itself continues to go strong into the 2020s. It would be criminal not to mention NXT's best stable of all time and arguably the best stable of the 2010s, the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly have shown a whole new generation of fans how to pull off a great group with style and absolutely no grace. There has also been a long tradition of three-man groups that have left a lasting impression, going back to the Freebirds, to Demolition, to the Triple Threat, the two of the most successful groups of all time, the New Day and the Shield. Stables are not always successful or as cool as the ones that have been mentioned. The Oddities, Los Boricuas, Kai En Tai, the Mean Street Posse, and the Right to Censor are all forgettable, or better forgotten. Gang warfare should never be an acceptable solution. However, in professional wrestling, it is part of the pastime and can be quite fun if done properly. Whether you call a united group a stable, a cause, or a gang, a professional wrestler can accomplish quite a bit thanks to a well-formed collaboration of violence.